Ah, there we go. Okie doke. From the eagle to the people, let's stream the things I do when I'm not working on YouTube recordings, which I haven't had the time to do a whole lot of YouTube recordings, so I apologize. You're not going to see my face throughout this video for the most part, mostly just my hands and what I'm going to be doing. So today what we're working on is a couple of pieces. I'll show you when I transfer downstairs, but we will be working on a couple of pieces for Christmas gifts and some things like that, some things that are going to be going up for sale. Hello, Script, how are you? I gotta change him to a moderator real quick. Give me a second. There you go. You are now a moderator. So guys, I'm going to jump right into this and start getting started. I will have the chat up. I'm not going to be able to look directly at it most of the time. So if you got any questions, feel free to ask. I'll have it up on my phone, of course. Yeah, and past that, we are going to cut some pieces today. So you guys are going to get to see what happens on the scroll saw and how all of these little things that I make for sale are kind of cut out and made, but it's only half of it. There's a lot more beyond the cutting. So most of my pieces are pre-prepped and ready to go. And yes, past that we will see where it goes. Pleasure to see you, cajoling chimp. Cajoling chimp. It's still more fun as the Cajun chimp. But on that note, guys, I'm going to head down. So I will see you there. Be right back. Oh, let me mute this mic so that way nobody freaking... Oh, and by the way, the audio is going to be kind of crap throughout this video because I'm using the mic downstairs on the camera. So with any luck, we'll hopefully be able to hear me, but it'll be kind of like metallic-y. What's up, Deadly? Pleasure to see you. Hello. I see you. I don't know if you see me. Hello. I see you. I don't know if you see me. Oh, cool. So I got some decent audio down here. Awesome. All right. So the pieces we are working on today are, two of them are fairly simple, one of them's a little more involved. So basically it's going to boil down to the paint job, but this is the first piece we will be working on. The light may blow out my blade, so I apologize about that. This is one of the pieces, so she'll be cut out, and then we've got, yep, luckily it's wood. Piece number two will be this guy. Again, these will be fairly quick to cut out. And then the third piece I'll be working on is this one, which has already been, as you can tell, pre-prepped, all of this. So if you look from behind, that's kind of what it looks like. It's a lot of cutting. And what we call this is a bottom feeding. The puppet, yes, the puppet. When you see, pardon me, you probably see my nose. All right. So guys, I don't know how loud this saw is going to be. I'm hoping it's not too loud, but we're going to start with this one. These two should be fairly quick. But basically, it's cut her out and we call it a day. So let's see how it goes. Oh, and before I start, I need to get this off there. There we go. And we're going to be doing the outline of her. Where these little white spots are, we'll be keeping those in instead of cutting them out like a typical piece, because I'll be just making paint to do this with. Yeah, she should be fairly quick. I'm using a number 3 blade, by the way, which is a little thicker. It's meant for something that's a ½ inch or to a quarter to a ½ inch. This is probably a 1/4 inch wood. This is basswood, in case you didn't know. And the reason it's taped on both sides, guys, is if you're doing this, tape both sides to keep the blowout from happening. So all I'm doing is eating out a little bit of wood so I can make a turn. And then I'll feed in where I need to feed in. Now if you want to make a quick turn, you gotta be quick with your piece. So essentially what that should have done is give me a small point here to work with, which has been chewed off a little bit, which is fine, not a big deal. Her small hair point is here. I think you guys can see that. Yep. So that'll work. And what we're going to do is just trace out her outer rim. It'll go quicker as we get further down the piece because these will be easier to cut. Right in here is where most of your detail work is, right around her hair. So we're going to work on that. By the way, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. It's going to be a different kind of stream today. Yeah, you guys are awesome. I appreciate it. I know I can't hear me very well. Just type it. I'll take a look over in just a second. I know I haven't been on lately. This is basically why. I've been making a lot of pieces recently. The last thing I did was it's called a pen basket, which is posted on Instagram, which I'll have to remake again, but I'll post it on the Eagleeyegaming Instagram as well. It's a basket for a pen, and it's got some very finite cuts in it, and it took forever to do. And there's a lot more pieces left to be made before Christmas. The camera might move a little bit. If it does, it's because I bumped into it with my head. Good turn. So again, you can do this two ways. You can either back out of the spot if you don't trust yourself with the saw just yet, or you can do as I'm doing and just use the blade to slightly eat off the corners of it as you go. which will then give you the amount of room you need to make a turret. This might not be like something you guys enjoy as gamers, so again, I apologize. I just kind of figured I'd come on, let you guys know that I'm still alive, still here, still doing the things that I've done. But this is pretty much the stuff that I work on outside of this. Now, most of this, you'll notice, is going to be up for sale on eBay as well. I keep posting mini boxes every now and then. Those I will probably be doing on a separate channel. But again, this is just kind of like one way for me to test to see if this is okay for me. Some of them. A lot of my pieces are not gaming related. It's harder to sell pieces that aren't gaming related because, well, if you don't know, which you should know, gamers don't exactly have a ton of money. Alright, so what I'm doing here is making an outline for her face. Because it didn't give me one specifically, so we're going to make it work. So if I don't like where it's at that specific spot, then I will come back up and trim it down. And also, because I'm cutting this, sometimes you'll notice that I missed a spot, like right here in her neck. Stop. Right here in her neck, right there. I'll have to make a new hole so I can actually bottom feed through that. If you don't know what bottom feeding is where these holes are. This is a bottom feed blade, so it feeds from the bottom. That's my air hose, by the way. It's supposed to work as a vacuum, or like a blower thing. Not a vacuum, a reverse vacuum. A leaf blower. There you go. And what it does, it keeps the sawdust from hopefully building on my piece where I'm trying to work. Doesn't always work. The other saw typically has a vacuum set up to it, which is down literally right next to the camera, but I don't want to move it because I'll lose track of where the camera is, and then I'll have to go upstairs and set all that up. I have a 25-foot cord running my camera right now, so yeah. If it loses video, please let me know. Because I don't know how well the video feeds and cool. And essentially, you'll start seeing the piece making itself into a piece. So I'll be right back. I'm going to make a hole real quick right here, and then I'll show you what bottom feeding is. There. So what bottom feeding is where you release the blade. Because my blade attaches at the top, I'll need to come into the bottom of the piece, which should be this hole here. And we're going to feed, get the stuff out of our way first. We're going to feed the blade through that hole. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but it should have like a high ting sound. If it's got a really, really tight sound, if you play guitar, you will know the difference. But if it's got a really tight sound on the blade, you'll end up snapping your blade. So do keep an eye on that and be careful with that. all I'm doing is trimming it out because it's a little bit tight. I don't want to make that turn with the blade if I don't have to. Right there, without a whole lot of room to make the turn. So we've got the room now. I can pull the back of the blade. It's completely dull. It's not going to cut you. The front can cut you, but again, as you can see, not really a whole lot that it's going to do. The freakiest moment of the blade is when it snaps. It will make quite a loud ting. Now, if you do end up in a position where you're cutting yourself with the blade, you've held your hand against it for probably too long. So you should probably not do that. Pro tip, don't grab the blade. But yeah, here, I'll show you what they look like real quick. Essentially, these are the blades I use. They're called Flying Dutchmans. There. I'm going to wait for this to catch up here. If it hurts, don't do it. Actually, the thing is, it won't hurt. That's the problem. This blade, if you can see, it's got 2 points that head up, 1 point that heads down. So when you're feeding this in, make sure that you're following your instructions. My personal preference is 2 down, 1 up. That's just me. You got different size blades you can use. This is more of a meat eater style blade. That one you'll feel. But yeah, essentially what we're doing is we'll make the hole so you can see it from the back. This is called blowout. This is just on the tape though, which is why we tape it. So she's got her 3 buttons we'll be cutting out here. We'll be cutting out that and this part here and possibly this if I can get my blade through. If not, then I don't have a big enough blade, or a small enough blade. So let's find out if we can make it through the tiny hole. Ooh, it's tight. Alright, there we go. So again, it's giving me a lot of resistance right there, which tells me my blade is too tight, which means we're just going to bring it up a little bit, and that should give me a nice high ting. Oh, and also I'll let you guys know, I run the saw at a very high speed. It doesn't necessarily have to be run at that speed. I'm more comfortable with it there. Give me a quick second and I will show you the variations that you can use. So, right now I'm cutting very high, but I can also take it down to super slow, which is great for a beginner cut. You got a lot more control on your blade when you cut at that speed. However, I don't particularly care to cut at this speed because it does slow you down quite a bit. So, let me turn myself back up here. Trim out that little spot. And there you go. Like I said, I prefer high-speed cutting, but sometimes slow-speed cutting can be useful, especially if you're in a very tight corner with the piece. Typically, if you're in a tight corner, you're going to want to do a low-speed cut, and the reason why I say that is because the low-speed cut is going to help you keep from breaking your piece. So I'm going to do all the feed-throughs real quick, and then we'll finish cutting out her portrait piece, and that'll basically finish her up to the paint point. And this piece here is actually relatively easy, which is nice because it'll be a real quick cutout for me. compared to like this piece. That's a lot of really fine cuts that are going to have to be made. So hopefully it goes fairly simple as I'm hitting the camera. I knew that was going to happen. Come here, lady. Again, bottom feeding is through the bottom. No, that's the side of my saw. Actually, you can see the vacuum right down there. Now the thing about my current saw is that it does cut at an angle, so to get a straight line, I will be at probably close to a 45, which does happen every now and then, but certain saws are better than others. These ones are kind of like the intermediate right now. Obviously, better saws cost more money, which I don't have because I'm broke. That's why I'm making Christmas gifts. Too tight. Don't you bite. Do the work with me here. Oh, you'll also notice I talk to the piece. That's the thing I do. Scroll, turn, scroll, turn, 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 take that piece out, clean it. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that cut. Cool. There's her buttons. Let's get her last two holes cut out, and we can get the rest of her cut. Hopefully, like I said, she's going to be a fairly quick piece. And again, if you guys see me stop and go down to readjust this part, it's because this gave me too much resistance and I don't want to snap my blade. How much is the puppet one going to cost? This current one is actually a gift, so it doesn't cost anything except for the shipping amount that it'll be for me to ship it. Typically, to make a piece like this, I would charge probably about $45 for it. Again, this isn't. You guys aren't going to see the full finished product of this. This is being turned into an actual light box or an RGB shadow box. So when it is finished, I will post So typically when this one's finished, I will take some photos of it or a video of what it looks like at the end. I'm gonna have to shrink this down so I can read what you guys said. Have you ever thought about making Eagle-Eye Gaming themed wood pieces? Actually, I do have some Eagle-Eye Gaming themed wood pieces. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. I'll show you. Alright. So, yes, this is actually one of the things I've been working on. This is one of the Eagle-Eye Gaming themed pieces for you. A quick second here. Anytime Eagle. Yeah, pretty much. Well, I'm pretty immature, so that pretty much counts. Yes. I think Deadly's right, though. Any good hobbyist does. So this is what I will be making for sale as well. These are miniature themed Eagle-Eye Gaming logos. What they will do is sit in a box with an RGB, and they will sit basically like this. Each piece is, again, individual cut, and then stacked together to make your full piece. This will be up for sale as well when I finish it, which basically comes down to a box. Need to make the box for it. I've got that. I've got a fairy upstairs that I'm working on that will be coming up for sale. Yeah. I've got this one, the puppet, another fairy I've got to cut out, and the koi fish. The koi fish is going to be the most time consuming of all of my pieces. Too loose. So with any luck, yeah. See how that works. Tapping the camera with my hand. Okay. Now what I did there was because right here my drill bit was a little bit too big and I don't have one small enough, I simply adjusted the size of this cut to make it look like it should look there. Well, like it should be there. So that should be all of her insides for the bottom feed. So what we're going to do is reattach our saw and finish cutting out the outside of her. You guys hear that? That's about the sound you want. I don't know if you can hear it. But basically it's going boing, boing, boing. Yeah. That kind of idea. So we'll start at her fingers. Hopefully not chop them off. So because this is such a fine little part right there, I've opted for kind of cutting off just the edge of it so I can realign myself with the blade and then cut into where we're going to. So now we've got a finger there, and I'll clean it up in just a minute. I'm going to take out a small chunk here. With any luck. And now I'm just going to lightly touch it with the blade to give it that nice clean corner look that I want. See that clean corner right there? Now that should come out okay. So I'm going to feed back in and then cut a straight line off this one. Get rid of that little chunk and we'll come back in and do the exact same thing we just did. Alright, my face might end up hitting the camera here. A second. I gotta get real close for this. Just so I can see it. Do not see my nose. Apologize. Alright, I'm up at the knuckle. Our impasse piece. Bring it back. Now I'm going to try and trim this off without making a turn in her fingers, because I mean, that's up here. You don't have a whole lot of playroom to work with. Just like so. Alright, now we come back to trim it up a little bit. There we go. I don't mind if it eats into what I don't need, which is kind of what I'm aiming for here. So I can turn her and then come back down. I no longer need that part, so I'm just going to take it off like that. And I'm going to bypass this next inlay cut by coming just down her finger. Just going to need a point. Take out this whole chunk, which again, back of the blade, can't cut you at all. Soft blade. Some are not made that way, some are. But what I've done essentially is so I can come in and get a clean cut off her finger. Just so I can come in like this. Alright. I was hoping that would make it easier, but I guess it didn't. There we go. Now it's easier. Alright, what I'm doing is pulling back into her hand so I can make the turn without cutting her hand. And I'll slowly push forward to see where I'm sitting. And when I like where I'm at, I'll continue going forward.
I will look and see if anybody's chatted in just a moment. So what I did there was I fed and my blade turned on me. So I'm just backing up just a little bit so that way I can get back online. And we'll follow her around. Now again, every blade does cut slightly different. Every blade will give you a different angle to get a straight line on. So just keep that in mind. Every saw will cut different. It's much like gaming in the sense that everything is different from platform to platform. So if you're a PC gamer, it'll be different than if you're a PlayStation gamer or an Xbox gamer or all that other good stuff. So you guys get the idea, hopefully. Come across right there. Now I've got a fine cut right there that wants a solid point. What I'm going to do is I'll show you again. I'm just coming up to the edge. Then I'm going to pull the blade back against the piece I've cut and begin to turn it. Now when I turn it, that should give me a solid line, a solid point line to work on. So I should have that clear cut that I'm looking for. Come back around. Now I'm going to chop off this entire chunk coming off down here. So once we get past her skirt. And boom. So now you have her arm with her fingers. From behind, she'll look like this. And then it's going to come down to the paint jobs. Yeah, that's just where the tape folded. No big thing there. Whoa, Deadly. I talked to my models. Deadly, how many models do you have, sir? Nothing like seeing your fingers up close. Alright. So yes, typically for a light box or something like this, I would charge probably about 40 bucks for, including shipping. And this would be one that has to be done upon request of the buyer because of pieces. Now, what I've done there is I didn't like, or I came a little too far out, so I'm actually going to clean that up. Push back a little bit here. Now that's going to be a hard turn, but I've given myself a little room to make the turn. I'm cut right in there. Now bumped up against the line. All I'm doing is trimming it slightly, going up to the line, taking off just a smidge at a time, so I can make this happen, right there. So I can get her to turn and not hack into a bit I don't want to hack into. Again, just up to the line that I don't want to cut into. Use the blade's teeth to kind of wipe that bit out. Now essentially what I've done is, here I'll show you real quick. I've opened this part up just enough so I should be able to get my blade down there to be able to turn her without catching any of the wood. Alright. stick. Come on. Okay. Now essentially what half of that was just me trying to, well, first let's try and clean her off as I just ripped that son of a gun. Alright, so right here where I was doing all that fancy work is because her shoes got like a weird turn to it, so I wanted to make sure we're getting that in there. And yeah, that piece of wood I can actually use. Give me it back. Give me it back. You guys probably just saw half my cheek smashed against the floor. There. Now what's happening is my tape is sticking. So it's causing the piece to hold up on me. Do not try and force through, simply back up and readjust to come through again. Forcing through might cause you to cut something you don't want to cut. So I guess in a sense this is more like a tutorial. There's a hard turn part right there, so we're going to come out. I'm going to open that up a little bit. Just so I can get some movement with the blade freely. So I can now adjust, come over and slice into her leg a little bit, make that hard defined turn, and then we'll continue forward. And another hard turn. All I'm doing, back up, slowly shave the sides out a little bit so that way I have the room to move the blade around. And then we'll cut right back in. Now because this one has a hard turn and I know how to do it, I'm going to show you guys the trick to make a really quick hard turn. Now I don't know if you caught what I just did there. What I've done, essentially, for the blade to be right there, I backed up just a tiny bit and quick cut in. Because when you come back to the front, it's going to fight back where you were. So again, right here, if I wanted to do that, I'm going to back the blade up a centimeter or two. And I'll just turn it real quick, because it's going to, again, eat at that spot that I don't want it to take out of. So I didn't hit where I want to hit. All I'm going to do is slightly begin to trim off a little bit of the sides so that way I can make that cut in where I want it to cut in. We're going to pull back out and continue off where we left. Following her 2-line down, go hit it, hit it again. Slight turn. Down here, we're going to continue this turn. Now, this one I'm going to take all the way over. So, essentially, when I made those hard turns, you'll see right here, I have a sharp corner, a nice sharp corner. Those were those hard turns. All I did was back my blade to about there, which I'm going to get this real close and try and see. So I put it right there, and then I made the turn. And as I made the turn with her, the blade jumped forward and turned at the same time. So I got that real clean puncture point right there. What's going on? Ooh, hi, Mama Frimp. Pleasure to see you. Mama Frimp should know this piece. So we're going to come around the corner and continue where we left off. That slapping is because the piece is being picked up by the saw. It does require a little bit of strength to hold this thing down. The smaller the amount of wood you're working with, the more it's going to fight with you. So do keep that in mind. If you want a very small piece, it will fight with you more so. I will show you in just a second what that looks like. Eyeballing the camera above my head and slightly offline. It's okay. You're allowed to make minor mistakes. Back it up and reconnect where you left off. Again, hard line. I don't feel like making that hard turn, so what I'm going to do is turn the opposite way. Open her up. Now what I'm doing is I'm pulling the saw blade against the piece that I've just opened up. So the whole blade is being pulled against that, so I can make the turn without biting, and then I'll go forward. And I'll trim off just a little till I get in where I want, and start that slow back up and turn it into it. Got the idea? There we go. Now my style is a little different than most. Most people will cut a 3-dimensional or a 2-dimensional item. I prefer cutting in 3D, which is why I cut out the actual piece. Hard turn, again. I haven't backed up at all. I'm just not putting any pressure against the blade this time. The blade's going to do what I want it to do anyway. Now I'll start turning back to where I want it to go, and we'll come back with that. Okay, again, I've got a point. I don't need a super hard cut, so I'm going to let the blade do the work for me. And we're going to walk her out. Now, because that is a finite point, I'm actually going to come over to this one, get right up against that line, give myself a precursor cutting, and then I'm going to cut off this whole cut. So I don't want to work with that whole thing. Now, mind you, all of these pieces can be reused similar to these. So I'll be doing this. I use the scraps for this. We got the scraps for that. You see the idea? Don't waste your material if you don't have to. And what I will show you real quick, we're going to switch pieces. I'm going to pull her off.
is the smaller the piece, the harder it is to make these cuts. So I'll take off this piece here and show you just what it looks like to cut that. So because this is smaller, I've now forcibly got to put some serious strength into holding that bit right there as I cut in, because the blade's going to want to do this. See how it's jumping on me? Granted, I'm letting it jump, but that's because I'm going to let you guys see what happens. Now we'll come in and we'll cut. Again, that finite piece. Now I'm putting a lot of pressure down on this. If you don't have a lot of pressure on it from this side, you'll be able to take off. Okay, so that gave me that right there. The closer you're going to end up to the blade, so you might want to make sure you're comfortable with your blade before you start attacking tiny pieces. If you are not comfortable with your blade, do not tackle anything tiny, because the fingers being close can freak a lot of people out, especially if this thing snaps. If blade snaps, you're going to freak it out very much. So essentially, it just means you're closer, the piece is smaller, it's going to be harder to work with, and the fingers are going to have to be a lot closer than most people are comfortable with. I don't feel like coming out of that spot, so all I'm doing is making sure that I have my line where it should be. Turn my blade around, keep cutting it. Because again, the smaller the piece, the worse it is to try to work. So if I just let the blade go, it'll throw that piece everywhere, which is not optimal. So what I did was I opened up right there, so I could turn the blade in that spot without cutting anything extra. And we'll cut around the corner where we need to go. There's my point. I do not want to come out of this piece any more than I have to on this one. So we're going to try and make every turn count in the spot that it's at, and then we'll cut from there. So now what you'll have is something like that. Fine, don't say that to me, Mama Frimp. I see how it is. Whatever. Rat. Alright, I'm going to go back to the big piece, because that little piece isn't necessary for anything. What I am going to do is try to finally cut into her. As much of this cut without coming out of the piece as I can. But I can't guarantee I'm not going to have to come out of the piece.
right down here. I'm coming out of the piece. That's a tight turn. I'd rather not make it. So we're just going to turn it onto this line here. And the other bonus about going this way is that it will avoid the blowout on the very end there when I'm coming back down. So it's a little less work late. So right there where that piece is, it didn't trim it all, so all I'm going to do is just run the blade line up against it. Boom. Oh, I see. Okay. Where are you sharing this one to? This is kind of a weird stream for me. Thank you, by the way, for sharing. I don't think I did. Alright. So I'm going to come upper here and then work my way back down the other way. Again, I apologize if my audio is slightly off. I am literally sitting on top of this camera, so my camera is about a foot away from my hands and about 2 inches away from my big old nose. Now again, alright. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to think out how I best want to tackle this. I am going to end up just slowly grinding off the edge so I can make this turn. So you see how that's slowly opening up? I don't know if you can see it on camera. I can't exactly look. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little lower and come up and start opening this up so I can safely turn without cutting anything I don't want to cut. So now I'm pulling the back of the blade against it. It's going to eat into that white spot and we should be able to make that turn. There we go. Hard turn. Let the blade do the work there. We'll come back and trim it up. I overshot this a little, that's okay. There we go. Now all I'm doing in here is because I'm having difficulty seeing it. So I'm making the cut where I think it's going to be, and if I see any white left over, I'll go back and slowly start trimming that off. So again, this is a kind of a tight spot. I don't really want to be working too much more than I have to in it. So we're going to make our turn. That piece of paper or material or whatever I have, now it's a guessing game. Didn't cut out how I wanted it to, now it's a guessing game. So we're going to hope that I got it close enough. Which actually, that I'm pretty okay with. So from behind, that's the corner I just did. I'm okay with that cut. From the front, again, shoot up the paper. That is just the tape in the paper, so I'm okay with that. As I bump into the camera. I love bumping the camera. Oh, nice. I don't get much action on Twitter. Or, yeah, Twitter, Instagram. I also don't post on Instagram very often. I don't think I've logged in there in a while right now. It's got locked out, so. Alright, so that's a fine piece. I'm going to have to create a piece of hair right there. All I'm going to do is I'm going to come up this way. Slowly take out a chunk of it. See how it looks. Okay. Let's see how much I got. I got a very fine piece in there. Probably going to chew the crap out of it, so I'm going to go from right here. Looking up just a little bit. Slowly work my way in there, and be sure to have that fine piece of hair that it's supposed to be. Now, if you guys don't see it, occasionally I'm coming off the line, so all I'm doing is going back and just slowly grinding off that whole chunk. Because as you will learn, Eagle is terrible at cutting in a straight line. Whatever. Hang on, I saw something that I didn't see before. Right, come here. Let go. Okay, that is her arm. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we got to open that up. Which means I got to go in there. So right there. Hard turn. My fan down there. Try to cleanly cut that out. Now what I'm doing is trying to eat that up just a little bit so it lets some light through when I'm finished. It's not supposed to be this wide, but that's okay. I prefer to make it that wide for a specific reason of lighting, because I know what the end product should look like. So, open that up a little bit. Now we're going to follow her arm back down. Again, create this spot that you don't have. Right there, I've got a hard turn. Take the turn. Blink. Now, if I did that right, I should have a decent elbow. If I did that wrong, I'll have to clean it up. But again, you guys can see here, I have the point for her hair, which is kind of what I was hoping to get. So you've got the point in here for her dress. I'm not sure I like that from that angle. Again, I'm hitting the camera. Stop moving. I know. Well, it's got to let me back in first. It's got me all locked out because they're cool. Alright. So I'm okay with that cut. I'm going to come in and I'm going to try and get us a little bit of hair. Again, slowly trimming. I don't want to come any closer to that piece that I just made than I absolutely have to, because of the fact that because it's so skinny, it goes over. So instead, I'm going to come in from the bottom. And we're going to slowly work into that piece and both not. Again, this is where having a slower speed comes in handy, but I prefer cutting at high speed. I feel more in control of the blade when it's going faster. Some people have not. So I'm going to try and straighten off this so I have something smooth to cut into. Okay. I don't need any of that stuff. Now I should be able to, if I did everything right, come down here. And it will bite eventually. Now keep in mind, guys, when you're cutting these, don't force your blade into a spot it's not if it doesn't want to work, just give it some time, let it lightly eat its way in there. It will get a grab, and then you can start to adjust from there. Forcing your blade in will either A, jack up your piece a little bit, or B, you will snap your blade. Also, you want to kind of let the blade do the work for you when you're cutting. See how I'm coming down? I'm putting very minimal pressure on this blade. The blade will cut for itself. You just gotta guide it. That's basically all you're doing is trying to guide in your piece the best. I'm gonna leave that chunk right there. I'll come in and bring that out to the front. Okay, that extra hit was me hitting the side that I didn't want to hit, which is okay, because I just tapped it, so there shouldn't be any damage to it. Now I'm going to come back up and start cleaning out that weird cut right there. The only time you should ever be putting any more pressure than just a smidge on your blade is when you're making the turn. Because when you're making the turn, it's going to try to fight with you a little bit. I don't know what I just cut, that's okay. Alright, so because that's going to be a pain in my keister, I'm actually going to come in from this side. Take off this. And you'll notice when my blade moves faster, I'm putting more pressure. I'm just hitting in there quickly. I kind of lose a little bit of the durability on the blade that way, but at the same time, I'm impatient. This is something that I've had to use to learn patience. Patience is not my strong suit. Okay, cool. Got that. I want to check that now. So, ate off some of this stuff. Alright. So I'm pretty okay with that. I see where I hit, which is right here. All I'm going to do is later on I'll take a file and I'll clean that down. So the piece should end up coming down to probably right there. So it'll give her the 2 points there. If the front survived it, which it looks like it did, actually you can see, I'll just hit it with some wood filler, maybe. Something along those lines, and then pack it up here. But I might not even have to do that because that's going to be the back of her. So we'll see. But yeah, essentially, she looks like Sailor Moon from the back. Alright, let's get the rest of her done. Now I have another piece that's fairly simple to cut out after this. It is a Borderlands themed related piece. I will not be putting that on camera. That is a massive copyright issue. Therefore, if you wanted a piece like that, you'll have to find somebody who knows how to do it and is willing to do it for free, because I cannot legally sell anything Borderlands related. Much like I probably honestly can't sell anything Five Nights at Freddy's related, but I don't know. I'd have to look up the legality. Now again, I don't want to fight with your fingers too much, so I'm just going to start slicing them, leaving you that little open patch, then I'll break off in just a second. So again, I've sliced them right up to the fingertips, where they're going to cut in, and then we're going to start slowly chopping out fingers. Like I said, let the blade do the work, it will grab this onto the ground. See it? Now we've got a grab, we're in. Should be able to grab right in here somewhere. Alright, we're going to jump off that. That's okay. Turn the piece. Still jumping. There we go. Kind of stopped bouncing a little bit, which means I'm starting to get some teeth on that. Now, if you get annoyed, you can do what I'm about to do, and we're going to work our way back into the piece and shave it off till it freaking gives me something I can bite. So now that I've shaved that off, we're going to come into the back braid. There's the piece. Put our finger down on it. It's just to make sure I don't blow out any of the parts. Having a little bit of a fingernail helps. Okay, now I can't tell if that's paper or if that's part of that. That's okay. This is where I can kind of clean her up. So all I'm doing is running the blade very lightly against that corner to try and get my finger to work as a freaking finger should. So now it should be okay. Our finger is where our finger go? Finger is down here. Nope, it's up there. Yeah, okay. So you can see it's just the tape that's throwing my eyeball off, so we're good. I'm readjusting. Also, feel free to stop by at teespring.com, link in the description below, and get yourself some Eagleeyegaming coffee mug. I carry other merch. I just happen to love my coffee too much. Stop. Okay. Now I'm 100% aware that you guys did not see what I could just do. What happens is when the blade's trying to eat, it will swing back and forth as it's hitting the piece, and when it stops and stays straight, that's when you know you've got a bite. I'm going to attempt to make the point. So again, pulling back on the blade. I have no idea how that came out. We'll find out when I get it all cut off. And don't want to back out if I don't have to, so I'm just going to turn. Put our head holds on. Hard point. So I've overcut. It's alright, I'm just going to back up. Start turning, and the blade will eat off the chunks that I overcut to. Down the turner. Again, trying to get the piece out. I keep hitting the camera, that's why it's bouncing. I apologize. See how we did with that one point. Yeah, see, we got a decent point right there where we wanted it. Alright. So I just got this little chunk up here left to take out of her, and we should have ourselves a nice little female. Pretty straightforward. Alright, so what I just did was I broke the tip of her hair. I'm just going to trim it. Didn't realize my finger was on that. So because I broke it right there, I'm just trimming that off. I will file that down afterwards. It won't make that much of a difference. You'll barely be able to tell I have my finger there. Now here's the trick. Not pleased with that cut. I don't know what that extra part was. I think that's okay. Oh, I see what happened. Well, that's the first time that's ever happened. It tore out the whole inner chunk of her. Weird. That one I haven't had happen before. But essentially, that's what she's going to look like. I'll be able to fix that chunk. So that's good. And then what we're going to do is just peel her off, see how we got. So, now we just pull her face off, and the rest of the tape and stuff I have on here. And get her ready to be sanded and put together the way she's supposed to be. And she'll be good to go. At least ready for the next step of the process here. It's a bit of a longer process.
me get this off real quick, and then I'll hold her up, and you guys can see what the finished cutout looks like. It might take me a second. She's got an awful lot on her. Yeah. So again, I know this isn't my typical streaming stuff and how I normally run things, but I figured I'm not going to be able to get onto game anytime soon because of all the work I had to do, so I figured I'd share some of that with you so you guys can see kind of what I do off camera. There's a lot of the light show, a lot of this, a lot of that. Mostly wiring, a lot of stuff. I like to do that, apparently. And yeah, we've been fixing a lot of things around some people's houses, taking care of other people's stuff. Christmas season is always super, super busy. So it's not that I'm not trying to get to anything, I'm just having difficulties posting or getting time to do much. So that's kind of the reason why we're doing this, because this is part of what I need to do. But I also feel like being on is a good idea too. Alrighty. Quick second. There we go. So this is our girl. I hope you can see her all. Again, the fingers came out okay. I'm not mad about that. I can clean that up with the file. This is for her hair versus her neck, and the paint is going to be what really brings her back together. Okay, that sounds good. Script error, gaming. I'm gonna dip out for a bit. There. Yeah, I'm not upset with that at all. This piece is pretty well set to be put together fully, which is a good thing. So this is part one of this current piece. Now this is a two-part piece, and we're going to get started on the second half of this piece here in a moment, as soon as I get the back end tape off. So if you guys don't know, what I'm doing is I put this on here to keep it from blowing out the piece. So it gives you this kind of cleaner cut. You still need to clean it up a little bit, but it's a heck of a lot better than if you just ran it across the saw. It doesn't come out pretty that way at all. So I'll give you a little bit of that peel pour in action. There you go. I don't know if anybody likes that, but we'll try and keep this in camera for you so you can see. There's some peeling for you. Peel pour in action. Oh yeah, I'll get that peel. There you go. Oh, thank you, Mama Friend. Alright, let's get some more of this peel going. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is the part you've been waiting for. Her lower half is getting undressed from the tape. What? I'm only doing this because Mama Friend's in the chat, and I know her brain will go there. I know very well that her brain shall go where her brain shall go. But what a peel. There you go. Alright, let me get this off. We still got stockings on, apparently, down at the lower end. That could take a second. It looks like it's a three-piece stocking, so we'll give that a shot and see if we can get that off. Alright, you ready, Mama? Slow and steady does it. Oh yeah, right there. Look at that sexy thigh. I'm gonna try and get one continuous peel rather than have it broken. Doesn't look like that's gonna work out for me here. Oh yeah, there we go. Level 2. Oh yeah, so sensual. Uh-oh, we're at level 3. Uh-oh, she's got a 4-part, almost 5 parts sock on here. There's level 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Yeah. And now we're left with just the toe sock. Alright. One leg's free. Let's go for the second. We'll do this one a little bit faster. So I got other pieces I need to cut, so I can't spend all day undressing this poor thing. There we go. Alright. So again, you guys will have to stay tuned for the finished product, but this is what she's come out like so far. And you'll notice that some parts of them don't always give you all the tape. So that's cool. But yeah, like her fingers. Why does her fingers still have tape on them? Hang on, I'm having issues. But yes, the rest of her will be finished, and then I will post up a video showing. Yep, there's that angle for you right there. But the rest of her will be posted up as well on her own accord at a later date when I actually get her finished. So now we're going to move on to part 2 of this. I got a lot of sawdust all over that. This is part 2. Most people should be able to recognize what that is.
Hit a knot in the wood. It jumped. Straight. Again, I can confirm this. Eagle is not good at making straight lines. Never a thing Eagle is good at. Putting a straight line is horrible for me. That's cool. I'm attempting to cut this one out without coming off the blade. I don't want to open up any more than I can because I feel like there's more wood in this that I can use. Again. like I said, this one really shouldn't take too much time. The time consumer of this is going to be the paint job on it, the lighting, the box. I've still got to make the box. I probably won't see that at night camera, just so you guys know. I don't have a full setup or anything like that to move around multiple cameras. It's not my thing. You guys are lucky I've been able to figure out how to make this one work with a mic. Because I don't have the money to go buying a lapel mic to make things work. Now I will be probably coming back in here to clean up the fingers just a little bit here after I get them fully cut. I feel like I messed up a couple corners there. And my blade's dull. So if you notice the cuts are becoming slightly more difficult, it's because my blade's becoming dull. So if you're not like me and too cheap to put on another blade, I like to push them till the teeth. Okay, again, just bring that down a little bit right there. Pulling the blade against the piece that I already have to make the turn. This one might be a little bit quicker. Alright, now we gotta give it a booty. Ready for some woodart and Sorry, I realized I stopped talking. I was kind of just trying to get through this piece. I feel like this is going to be a relatively easy piece to get through. Show me that ankle. No. I'll show you that crotch thigh. Again, down the leg. Make it work. 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 Down the leg. We'll use the drink of coffee. I want to stop cutting, Joe. Not only finishing, just so you know. Should have been blessed with an amazing singing voice the way that I did. But I wasn't. I was blessed with a voice that makes the neighbors close doors in their cars and run away. Now again, if you end up overcutting just a little bit, you can always come back, do what I'm doing and trim it, or you can sand it afterwards, your choice. I end up sanding everything afterwards, so. By the way, everybody say hello to Mama Primp, who also just got literally right out of work and decided that she was going to be the best subscriber and turn on my stream. Literally probably hadn't even walked to the door when she did. So thank you for your dedication to the channel. I appreciate that. You are awesome. Also, thank you to all of my moderators, Rick himself, Medley, all of you guys showing up. I really appreciate that. You guys have done some really awesome stuff. They just increased the Discord with the new Nitro thing, which is pretty cool. So we got some fun setups there and that. Okay, let me get around this finger real quick. Okay, then open that up just slightly so I can get my blade in there and continue the cut. Luckily, however, I saw that move. I will check whatever somebody said in just a moment. I apologize. My peripheral is kind of trained on the chat just a little bit, just not enough to be able to read it. Slow turn, slow turn, slow turn. We're not going to make that. Okay, quick turn. There we go. Oh, that smell of cut wood. Should be a small burn mark on this one. I can smell it. What I told you about how the saw likes to sometimes take the piece, that is exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna make a straight line and then I'm gonna let you guys see. See how he's all blah 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 blah. because the saw is picking up speed.
Now that one I'm just going to turn off because we should just pop right out of there. Again, I appreciate it, Mama Primp. You're awesome. Can I have that back? So most people's will look like this when they're finished. They're like, oh, I just want the part here so I can put a black background behind it, and boom, there you go. You got the idea. Mine, on the other hand, always come out like this because I prefer to have the dude 3D'd, which he's not done. We still got to trim off a little bit on his head, which I could probably do with the thing, but I'm lazy. Actually, at that point, it doesn't matter if I'm lazy or not. I'm still going to have to take sandpaper to it, so give up. Alright, now we got 1, 2, and the mouth. And then he will be done for the most part, minus the paint job, so he'll be... Basically, this piece is going to look like this. So he'll sit slightly above her. She'll sit in front of him. And problem... Bing. Yeah, I think you guys get the idea. Alright, so let's do what... Remember, I have a bottom feed saw, so we're going to bottom feed through to the eyeball. Too tight. Now again, I should have done this first. Essentially all I've done is make it more difficult to control the piece. But I think I'm strong enough to hold this, so it should be okay. So you guys are aware, I can no longer see my saw blade, so this is a guessing game as to whether or not I'm in the right area. Black does not make it easy to see anything. But yes, we have an eyeball. Now to get the second eyeball. I'm going to get some coffee real quick. That came in really fuzzy. I don't like that. Ooh, don't drop my coffee cup. Ooh. Oh yeah, when this piece is done, we're gonna go get some fresh coffee. That stuff is cold. All right.
And guessing, actually just kind of praying. It's just working out pretty good here. I can kind of sort of see it, but not like what I would initially really like to have to see. Turn this round. Come on, buddy, turn your face. Stop sticking. You're fine. You go this way. Yep. Again, this is kind of one of those hope for the best moments. Yeah, looks like we got it. Got some eyeballs in there. Let's get them out. Oh, what's up, Psychomantis? Pleasure to see you. Welcome to chat. This is a bit of a new kind of stream I'm doing today. My audio might be a little jacked because I'm actually running off the audio that's in my camera. Not so much my speaker or my mic because I couldn't get a long enough cord to make my mic come down here. We're in my workshop today. Well, actually the House of Oz's workshop, but that's okay. Same basic idea. Alright. And what we are doing is we are making the cutouts on the scroll saw here for some tips. Now this should be easier because I got a little bit more sight here to see what his mouthpiece looks like. Should be, keyword, not guaranteed. Alright, you guys remember what I said about making the piece smaller? It is harder to work with. That's why he's fighting with me pretty hard right now. But I will win in the end. Pretty okay with that. That looks like a pretty good cut to me. There we go. Oh, okay. Wish she was here to see what. Got done streaming like. Yeah, she was at work about an hour ago. I have been doing this for the past 6 fucking years or whatever. Alright. You guys ready for this stuff? We're gonna do some pants peeling. Mama Frimp likes her peel porn here. It's all about that peel porn. So sensual. Yes. There we go. Let me get his fingers loose so we can get a solid peel porn. There we go. Yeah. Oh, God. Peel porn. Oh, yeah. Got another finger over here.
What you streamed tonight, Psycho? Yep. And that was my fault. It's okay. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, look at that peel. Look at that glorious peel. We're gonna have a whole dude by the time this sun's done. Oh, yeah, there we go. Pull that. Oh, the face. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that eyeball. What's underneath the marionette, you ask? Wood. Oh, see, I won't play that. I don't know if it's any good, but I couldn't stand the series of it either. So there you go. You want me to? This is. We actually cut all that out just so we could have this guy that just flops around randomly. There we go. That's that right there. That's the gift. Just this floppy piece of paper. Yep. We got the backside, which actually ended up with a bit of blowout, which means that I cut too fast. Not a big deal. Can work with it. There we go. Let's get his legs. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody's favorite part right there. That nice peel. Oh, there's some fingers. Oh, I'm shocked it's coming up like this. Ooh, he's gonna be fairly fun to work with. Cut that one loose. Whoop. No! Finger! Okay, now my finger doesn't want to work. I'm ruining it. You are ruining it, you stupid finger. Work. No. We need the whole dude. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. Look at that. There's the neck release. Get that face. Oh, yeah. Oh, that face. Ooh, some eyeballs. Oh, yeah, there we go. Haha! Now we got two halves of a whole. This is what I call blowout. See where this fuzzy crap is on there? That's where the sander comes in. That's what we call blowout. That's why we put the tape on. There we go. These two are complete. And that is how we cut these out. Now, granted, yes, I'm aware there's quite a size difference. It will work out. You'll see. It'll look cool when it's done. Okay, so our next piece. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. I won't watch the show. There's too many things in it that will drive me crazy. Our next piece is this, by the way. So this is where I plan to take a break, because this is going to take a very long time to cut out. But again, you guys will get to see the finished products and everything. I am going to take myself to go get more of this deliciousness. Yes, I drank my coffee black. Yeah, I think it'll look pretty sweet. Now, the cool part about this is I will be having my phone on me, so as I walk away, you guys will just see the saw here, which is fine. Let me get this all set up with the red and ready to go for our first cut. We're going to start here on this fin. Actually, we're going to start in these little holes. So again, let's see where we end up. We'll start that hole. So that's our first scale. We're going to be cutting this. I really should start with the head, but that's okay. I don't want to take off. So when you're working with the pieces, fine. You don't want to take out any of the big stuff until last, because that's a very finite line and you have a very high likelihood of snapping. So you want to cut out the little stuff first and then come behind it for the big stuff. At least that's what I found. In the meantime, though, I'm going to go get some coffee. I've got the phone with me. If you feel like chatting, I will type with you. So then I'm going to take me a quick break. you guys don't have any, you should get some. Actually, pretty happy with today. Okay. So, real quick, before I start this piece, I'm going to finish that little flower thing because I can actually use that. So give me a quick moment here. Get this tiny little flower. I have a place for this. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out while I can. Should have a hole back here somewhere. This one's going to be a mess to cut. Too loose. Probably a little tight, but because it's so small, I'm going to go with too tight.
Now there's a 50-50 shot this is going to make a real ton of noise coming up here, just so you know, because I have it so tight the top might pop loose. Also doesn't help that I'm working with a really bad blade. And now I'm experiencing power cut. Fine, not a big deal, we can work around it.
There we go. Just sling that around. That's cool. I don't mind. Alright. I can live with that. Get this little cut piece here. Wow, I do not have some pretty hands, do I? Good thing I'm not a hand model. Stop fighting with me. Jeez. Eat that crap. See what I mean about it getting smaller? It gets a lot harder to work with. Come here. There we go. Got it. It does sometimes like to throw the piece, so do keep that in mind if you're going to do this. I think there's tape on that. Come on. Man. Some more of that peel action. See if I can get this to peel properly. This one's not going to peel well. Sorry, disappointment on the peel action here. Give me it. At this point, if I can just get it off, I will be happy with that. There we go. A little bit of peel action, not very good. There we go. There's your peel action for you. Okay. So we have a small little flower. Let's get back to the main show here with the big piece. Thinking about what? The time meter? Yeah. Alright, so let's start with one of these smaller holes and just start cutting and see where we end up. So here comes the fun. It's going to be a lot of switch outs. Alright. Now on a piece like this is where you're definitely going to want to learn to have patience, take your time. It's not uncommon for me to go back through and recut items in this because I've managed to make a mess of them. But it happens. You just work around it. So again, there's a lot of small cuts that are going to be happening, a lot of pulling the saw open and closed. Oh yeah, coffee's a must. Coffee is always a must. Also, this is where I'm most liable to break blades. Just so you know. Again, it's not a fluke. It's not a rush. Because if you mess up one cut in a piece like this, you are recutting the entire piece. So just take your time and know it will work out. In all honesty, I'll probably end up slowing down the saw for this one. I typically don't like to work with a saw at this speed, but it does slow it down. It doesn't put as much pressure on these fine lines. I'll show you why I slowed it down as soon as I finish this cut. It did. The other thing I don't like about this speed is that my saw tends to have power issues at this speed. So occasionally you'll hear it go wang, wang, wang. It's because it's grabbing power and then it's dropping power and then it's grabbing power and then it's dropping power.
And not my favorite thing ever, but I would much rather take it slow, take my time, and not blow up the piece. So why I slowed it down is right here. You can see it took off the bottom chunk. It just blew that out. So I'm going to have to work at a slower speed. It's alright, we just adjust and move forward. Plus it's cold in here. Yeah, well, I'm in a basement, so that's I totally understand it's cold. Although it is nice to kind of have this going as like a stream thing because of the fact that I get a little bit of company. I already know that the audio is going to sound like crap. I'm going to have to pick the saw back up a little bit. I'm going to try not to. Finite of those lines. Oh, I really should have thickened this up. I really did not pick an easy piece to work with today. Well, let's hope that I don't mess it up on stream. That'd be an interesting one. Watch me blow this piece to shreds on stream. It's been a long time since I've jacked up a piece, but it does happen. Terrifying. Don't make me point I touch like this one. Stop singing. Why am I singing? Alright. So essentially what's happened is I've had to slow down the saw quite a bit. This piece I'm going to have to try and like thicken up. This is definitely more on the advanced side of cutting. So if you're just starting out, do not start with a piece like this. You are setting yourself up for failure. All I'm doing is slowly trimming out the edges. Hopefully keeping a nice consistent cut line. Going from there. Yep, piercing ink, definitely a thing. I gotta get close to the saw, so I might bump into the camera a couple times. You guys are just gonna have to deal with that. I apologize for that. So my goal for tonight is honestly one fish. If I can get one fish, I'll be pretty happy. Realistically speaking, I might get half a fish. We'll see. But I will show you guys from the back. It does look really cool when you get it cut out and it starts to take shape. Now guys, if you don't know, this piece is specifically for my grandmother because she has a thing for koi fish. She loves them. I wanted her to have something nice. It's very hard to go shopping for her, and I'm a fan of making things. I much prefer the effort put into making an object, and I think people appreciate that a lot more than just going out to the store and say, hey, buying something. Again, I could be wrong. If you like to buy something and you prefer something that's not handmade, that is your call. No, No. No, don't you break it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't you break it. Whew. Got it. Okay. Again, it does look kind of cool when you start getting it out. I'm going to blow out a lot of the back, so this might end up changing plans of what it's supposed to be in the end, but we'll see. I think it should be fine because a lot of it I can fix. But we shall see. Oop. That was not tight enough at all. Alright, really tight blade. That's going to be a really bad cut. Like I said, I started with the other pieces because I knew I could do those fairly quick. We'd have at least something finished. This piece is not one of those fairly quick moments. Also, you're liable to see a lot of my nose. Just, I apologize about that. Right. Oh, there's a really small piece in there. Yeet.
Likes to cut the snowings. See what they said, if we like small, delicate things. Small, delicate things. That's what we want to cut. That's just what we wanted to do with the airport shop. He said small, delicate things. So they gave us crayfish. We didn't expect them to be that delicate.
Don't worry, guys, this is still a gaming channel. This is just a temporary throw-in. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Again, the analysis on this video will dictate whether or not, after this stream, if I make a separate channel specifically for this kind of thing. So, if you guys like it, make sure you let me know that you like a channel of this. That would only be, like, highly inconsistent uploads, because this is not something I do on a typical basis. Like, I do it a lot more often than I like to think I do, but for the most part, no. It's not something that I'm like, hey, I've got a day off. Let's go and just randomly do this. If I got a day off, I'm more liable to be like, let's go record something. So, yeah, that's it. So again, if you guys like this, let me know. Please. Trust me, I need it. I need it. No, I don't know. Alright. And I tried to focus the thing here because I noticed from some of the other stuff that I've done, or that I've seen, that a lot of people don't like show the saw part so much, which is kind of a shame. I think that's part of the most interesting thing you could do is the actual cutout part, so I wanted to really get a focus on this. I don't really know what I'm doing in that last shot, so. Alright. So again. The other thing you need to keep in mind too is that looking at something like this does put a lot of strain on your eyes. So don't be surprised if you are forced to stop because you can no longer see what you're cutting. A lot of that happens to me. It's probably honestly going to happen a lot sooner than I want it to here. I'm also, because I can't see where my connection points are that well, your eyes will go kind of fuzzy. You're focusing on very small things. I think the suggested amount of time on a scroll saw we're already past. I think typically you're only supposed to saw for like 2 hours at max per day. I have been known to put in 12 to 14 hours of sawing. So again, if it starts to go wonky on you, don't be afraid to put the piece down and walk away and come back to it later. It will still be here. Which is something that relatively, this is one of the things that forced me to learn patience. And the reason why is because it's a lot of finite works. Trying to figure out where that hole was. It's not the one, it's this one here, I think. Yeah. It's going to be a real quick cut. Really quick cut. So if you're looking to get into this, I think the initial startup cost of doing stuff like this is right around $700 to $800. Again, it's gratifying in the sense that, like, when you finish it, you're like, whoa, I made that. And I do think that's cool. It's part of the experience of it. But to just start up, just don't expect to jump right in and be like, hey, look, I can make a masterpiece. No, it takes time. Making cuts like this terrified me in the first go at it, so don't beat yourself up too bad if you can't just grab and go and start off with exactly what you want. It's not that big of a deal. It's not going to kill you in the end run. It'll be fine. Just take your time. You'll get there eventually. Much like myself with Beat Saber. If you look at my very first video of Beat Saber, my lord, I was terrible. But with practice comes skill. And now I'd like to think that I'm pretty good at Beat Saber. Don't you do that. No. No, that's all. So is everybody having a good night so far? How do you guys feel about this? You guys like seeing this done? I've managed to maintain 4 people in the chat, so I'm gonna say it's doing pretty good so far. Could be wrong. Oh, and also keep in mind the way this thing forces me to sit is terrible. I think that's another reason why they say you're only supposed to do like 2 hours of it, because it does give you freaking horrible posture, which I hate about that. I am a very heavy stickler about my posture. I like to sit up straight. You can't do that as much with this. I walk straight, like if you guys ever meet me in real life, I walk with my shoulders pulled back. I walk straight as a board. I sit pretty stiffly straight.
So with this being the case, the way it forces me to hunch over, which you guys just got to see all kinds of my nose right there. Hang on. Hey, look, it's huge. But yeah. No, the way this causes you to sit, it can be very uncomfortable after a while. So as you can see, we start to take shape. Most of this I'm going to lose because it blew out. Again, this is what I call blowout, where it's got pieces like that it come across. It's typical. Um, the cheaper the wood, the worse that's going to be. Just as a heads up for you. This is actually decent wood. I just made the mistake of not putting the protective coating on the back before I started, so I'm going to have a lot of fill to do.
Again, big thing, especially with a piece like this, let the blade do the work. Don't force something like this with the blade. You want the blade to do the work because you'll have more control on the piece.
Well, that's one person. Woo! Glad I have one person who likes to watch me work. It's weird. It's different because this is not typically what I do. You guys know that. This isn't something that I typically like stream or do anything like that. Now I have a lot of finished products that you guys have probably seen up for sale, but nothing like this. I've never done a thing like this. I've never tried to stream this. Actually, in fact, if it wasn't for Mama Friend, this stream wouldn't have happened because she gave me the idea. Planting little birdies in everybody's brain. Because I couldn't find time with all this stuff to go ahead and record, which I think is fair. All of these games do take some serious time to make, to cut out things like that, so Mama Friend had suggested that I maybe stream it, see how you guys like it. I think her exact thing was that she wanted me to record it, though, and I just decided streaming would be easier. Because I didn't think I was going to have enough time to edit something like this. I'm waiting for the blade to do that. Like I said, when you see me just stop sitting there like that, I'm just waiting for the blade to catch the spot where it wants to go. Again, with a piece this small, it's very important that you don't mess up your cuts, which means take your time. Take your time, take your time, take your time. That is the best advice I can give you with this kind of project. Take your time. And don't slice your fingers off. Now again, I can show you guys, you're not going to hurt yourself with the number 3 blade. Mine is only a single-sided blade. It's not a dual-side spiral blade. Spiral blade will cut your fingers. So do keep that in mind when you're messing around with these. I use the single-sided blade because you get a much crisper corner cut. So again, after the holidays, guys, I will be back to full recording, I'm hoping, and getting everything going the way it should be going. So for right now, I just kind of figured I'd share with you some of the things I do during the holidays. and all year round, typically. So this isn't just like a single piece or anything like that. I have massive, massive photos everywhere of things that I've made and things that I do with this, but I just typically don't share them as much as I probably should. Should be a hole right there. Yep. Oh, good. You've got like no meat to you. Awesome. Maybe a tough cut. Yeah, the fingers, well, they're pretty callous, as you can see. Callous, 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 callous. I very much have workman's hands, which is why I try to keep them out of shot most of the time, because my hands aren't pretty. Alright, so if you guys don't know, I'm not following a line per se on this bit. What I'm doing is I'm just trimming off to kind of make it look how I want to, because it's very finite with that hole. So I'm not just going to follow it around like the big pieces. I'll take little small chunks at a time. And then I'll come back and I'll eat it off there. See, like right there. I'll eat that little chunk off, and then I'll come back here and I'll start working this way a little bit. This is just so I can pretty much have a better chance at not cutting through these little fine bits here, because I don't want to be doing that. Cutting through finite parts is going to be kind of a pain in the keister if you do them. If you do end up cutting through them, is what I mean. So, we got a lot of bottom feeding coming up for this. Already cut that. I need the one next to it. There's a hole somewhere around here. There's a hole. There's a hole. There's a hole in the bottom of this board. Yep, Mama Frimp is the queen of sharing everything I do. If you guys haven't heard from me in a while, just ask Mama Frimp. She knows everything that's going on with me pretty much all the time. She's kind of like my keeper. Great person to have on your side. So basically how it works with Mama Frimp, if she is on your side, she is on your side for life. Which is cool. So definitely a good subscriber to have, a really awesome person. Hang on, I'm going to get quiet. She's really tight. Okay. But typically, like, I'll post some random stuff every now and then, or I'll just share some pictures, and she'll post them for me as well, so it's pretty cool. Again, if you haven't heard from me in a little while, just know I'm not going away, no. That's not how I roll. This is something that I have spent 4 years of my life invested into. I do not plan on giving up YouTube anytime soon, no matter what they change or what they do, I will always be here. However, my schedule may change periodically throughout that, so just know I'm still here. Why are you not showing me a hole? Oh, because you're way the heck up there. Got it. Got it. The Frimp sees everything. Yes, she does. What's up, Script? Welcome back. Oh, wait, that was Deadly. I think Deadly said he'll be back. Now, guys, this is one of the very few items that I've bought that I actually put a full lifetime warranty on. This saw, if it breaks, I'm getting a replacement. Just so you know, just like my computer. If it breaks, I will now be able to get a replacement. Which, amazingly, when the computer went down, that seems to have been what really jacked up a lot of what was going on here. With my schedule and everything, once the computer went down, it just kind of became work on some other projects until the time came right. And I also found out that it went down 2 days after the warranty wore off. Stop it. This camera's gonna get dirtier as I go. Side effect there I didn't think about. There's a hole in here. There's a hole. There's a hole in the bottom of that fish. Oh, dude, she's got every bit of her's got a freaking warranty on it and a $10,000 insurance policy on her. That damn thing. That was seriously beyond irritating that that went down when it did, and it's still beyond irritating that the headset's down. Which is partially why I'm making pieces like this to try to replace the headset. So some of these things are up for sale. Hi. Good morning, Saab. Pleasure to see that you don't like to work either much. Not about to turn you up because I'm in too much of a finite cut area. So we're just gonna have to make do with what we got here, buddy. Again, to make that turn, I simply pull the piece back against the blade so that the blade backing is hitting the piece, and then I'm just making the turn. And my eyesight's fuzzy, so give me a second. I'm going to try and trim this down a little bit, but again, looking at this piece does give my head somewhat of a hard time at times. Not that I'm trying to sit here and complain, I'm just trying to explain that, yes, this is going to be one of those pieces that's going to be hard to do in one sitting if you decide to take it on. I would never suggest trying to take on a piece this big and do it all in one sitting. However, if you're like me and you have to procrastinate to the very last moment on some things, you will be cutting some pieces like this in one sitting. That box I made, the last thing, woo! Woo, Mama Frimp, you saw how long it took to cut that one thing. I did the rest of it in one sitting. That was horrible. Now you guys hear how it's going. It's because my saw doesn't like to be at this low speed. So it's just having a slight hiccup, which is partially why I run at much higher speeds than this. However, because this piece is so fine, I turn the blade down, and I will just put up with that. But you got to be aware that when your saw starts to act funny, you got to learn it. So like when it starts going when it gets those high wings, that's gonna try to take my blade, speed it up, and make it cut a lot faster into a part that I'm working with. So again, key thing to remember, let the saw blade do the work. Don't force this one. Okay. But I think we're making some nice progress here. So far, I'm out of the terrifying zones that I thought I was stuck in before, so that's good. It'll really make a big difference when you guys can see me hit the spots that are a little bit bigger. There is a hole in here somewhere. I know there is. Thank you. Now another thing too is I've modified this saw multiple times over. Yeah, that piece was horrible. Again, check out my Twitter. I will post up a picture right now on that. So if you guys want to see that, you can go over to my Twitter and check that out. I'll just throw that up there so you can see it. I do have a Twitter and I can get to it, so that's pretty cool. This piece was super, super cool. I was excited to make this. This was actually for a wedding, per se. I just loosened that because the one thing, keep in mind, if you get a saw like this, you never want to leave your blade tight if you're not using it. It causes stress on the springs and the coils, which is bad. So this here was the piece that I cut out. Okay, now I didn't put any hashtag or anything on that, just so you know, Mama Frimp. I'm sure you'll share that for me, because you're awesome. But the piece I made there took some serious time to cut out. So again, things about this saw. I've modified this thoroughly. There used to be a cover over here. It got in the way. It just became a dust collector. There used to be a piece here. I didn't like it. I got rid of that. I've modified this to work for me. And that's exactly what I suggest you do to any equipment you get. Modify it to work for you.
But again, I just posted that other thing on my Twitter, so if you guys wanted to see the other piece that I've managed to cut out and make before this, that ended up being a gift for a wedding, you are more than welcome to check that out. If you would like to commission one of those, let me know. Just DM me, send me a message, whatever you want to do, I can make those as well. I haven't made those for sale yet. Those will be something I'm looking into making for sale later. But right now, Christmas season kind of has every bit of my workload. So do keep that in mind. If you guys have a piece you would like me to try to cut out, send me a picture. I can attempt to. And yes, thank you, Mama Friend, for sharing that. But yes, if you guys have a piece or something you would like cut out for you or your family member or something, you can send me a photo and I can tell you whether or not I can do it. Now, there are certain pieces I can do and certain ones I can't do. Just because it looks relatively simple doesn't mean it's something I can cut. So again, the House of Oz as well, she does these kind of pieces as well. We make doll houses, miniature room boxes, RGG boxes, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Coffee break. So we make a lot of crazy things here. So if I can't make it, I can see if the House of Oz can make it, and we can go from there. So yeah, if you have a piece of something that you'd like to see made, by all means, contact me. You can message, if you can leave me a comment on this video, you can message me on Twitter, you can message Mama Print to try to get a hold of me, whatever you want to do. However you would like to do it, it's up to you. But know that just because it looks simple doesn't mean I can cut it. Again, if Instagram ever lets me back into the account, I had just set up an account called Miniature Wood Corner, which was designed specifically for showing pieces like this. But, yep. If they don't let me back into it within the next couple of days, I will be remaking it on a new site or a new page, and I will have that linked and pushed around everywhere for you as well, so you can follow it there. A lot of this stuff I will be posting on my Twitter, so feel free to follow me over at Eagleeyegaming1, where I plan to post more of my gaming stuff as well. Haven't done any of that in a long time. We've got some Sims that I'm definitely going to get into. Mama Print was kind enough to share some games that I think are multiplayer, so that's going to be a lot of fun to get the guys together for. And then we will go from there. Now, what I am doing here, if you haven't noticed yet, is I'm giving myself a little extra room. So I'm not all the way up against the black on this line. What I'm doing is leaving just a little bit of white, so that way I can play with the saw blade and not have to worry too much about chopping off my center point. Now, that doesn't always work, but in this case, it seems to be working so far. Therefore, I'm going to hopefully allow that to continue doing what it's doing and hopefully leave myself enough meat to cut on. So like when we get over here, this piece I will be making a little bit thicker. You can always modify a piece as you work with it. If it doesn't let you in, I can always run the page for you if you want. If you would like to. I mean, that's up to you. I've got over 100
or probably about 50 pieces I'm going to be posting up in there, give or take. The thumbnail one is actually one of the pieces that I completed. It's hanging on Mama Firm's wall. I thought that was pretty cool. I made the Red Dead Redemption light box, or the Red Dead Redemption light box, Red Dead Redemption 2 light box in honor of the Rockstar release of that game. And that was a giveaway item, which is hanging up at a subscriber called Anne Marie. So I hope you like that piece. I've made my Eagle Eye sign will be as well made in miniature forms for sale. If you guys don't know what that is, give me a second and I will show it again because I'm working on one of those as well. In fact, I'll do that right now. This is the miniature Eagle Eye piece. It will have its own box. It will be lit up, but this is my logo. This will be up for sale as well. So you guys will have that option. It will be a 3D box, of course. Ooh, almost cut that too thin. It's okay. Just be careful with it, and we'll keep going. So that's the thing there, too. Should be able to get some decent area done. Now, oh, too tight. Too loose. Ah, just right. Yeah, I like that one a lot. I still have it and I can recreate it. I just haven't actually had any time to work on it. I'll show you guys some of the other pieces I'll be working on here soon. I do have some Final Fantasy VII stuff coming up for the, in honor of the Final Fantasy VII remake release that will be coming. And I don't know how people are playing it early, other than the ones that maybe have early access, because I tried to buy it, and they told me it releases on March 2nd, and I'm a little mad about that, but that's okay. Borderlands 3 is still a game I plan on playing. Don't worry. I'm just waiting till after the holidays because I don't want to buy anything when somebody else might get it. You know what I mean? I try not to buy much during the holidays because of the fact that you never know who's shopping for what, and most of my family knows I'm a gamer, so that might be something that ends up on my list. Yeah, same to you, Script. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate you. Hope things have been well for you. I don't know if this is something I would say I enjoyed per se. Something I can do, not something that I'd say I thoroughly enjoy doing. Oh, I'm too thin. I am too thin. Way too thin. That doesn't snap, I'll be shocked. Holy cow, it made it. I am so surprised that didn't break. Go figure. Ooh, that's a little skinny. So we're getting kind of like a weird pickle looking thing on the back. Oh, I guess that's the hole we're going in. I didn't intend that to go that way, but that'll work. Alright, I'm going to try and get these 3 cut out next so we can take out the big head chunk. because I'm pretty sure I'm getting to that point where my eyes are going a little too cross-eyed. Sorry, hit the camera again. Yeah, I'm going just a bit wonky here, so I want to get these done, cut out, ready to go. Actually, I'm going to back up a little bit because I don't want to leave that much meat for me to have to try to cut through, so we're going to go for this one. Not that one. Need to get whatever the hole is here. Now, I know there's a dang hole. Thank you. Alright, so that piece is going to come out, then we'll go to the next piece forward. Again, you want to leave as much meat to cut on as humanly possible. Especially the wood that's compromised with the thinner the pieces you're working on. So, kind of like one of those weird things where you just kind of learn as you go. My first piece I did like this, I snapped so many parts of it, I was so mad. It's also one of those ones where I'll start to get quiet in certain spots because I'm afraid it's going to snap. Now I can cut that piece and not worry too much about it. Do I go here? I think it's here. I think it's this one. I hope it's this one. This is that one. That's what I want. Okay with that. Tearing a lot. Should be this hole next. Alright, which will leave me 1, 2, probably 3 more cuts, and then I'll be calling it where it's at. Oh, no, we got 4 at least. At minimal, 4 more big cuts. This I'll take out there. I'll leave a little extra line there. Yeah, we'll be fine. Alright, I got it. Essentially, if you guys remember, I'm letting the saw do the work. That is the only thing I can keep suggesting throughout this, because this piece is really one you can jack up really quickly. But what I'm going to try and do is get the head cut out tonight. This head, that spot, the eyeball, which I think I can get the eyeball without having to go through that side, so that's okay. And maybe this fin. I'll definitely get that fin today. So we'll get a couple fins for sure. I don't know about the head yet, but we'll get a couple fins. Gonna leave me a really thin line to work with there. Alright, let's take out this top fin, because I can take that out now. So if you didn't see what I just did there, instead of trying to turn the blade in that spot, I simply just shaved until I got that open. Which I thought would be a little bit easier than trying to actually make that turn. Just depends. It'll change how you feel. Again, I don't feel like making that turn. It's a little tight, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut in there. I'm going to make the white work for me and pull my blade back. And then just trim that off. So then we can just follow this around the outside and hopefully get our piece up. Now I'm going to skip over that chunk there. I'm just going to head down to the bottom. So I really don't want to fight with any corners at this point. I just kind of want to get in there, get this big piece out. So we managed to accomplish that pretty fairly, I think. Take it slow. Real thin line, take it real nice and slow. So now we'll kick that out of there. Trim up this back just a little bit. And now, I'm going to come back in and get those spots that I left.
So again, not a huge amount of hard stuff going on there. Try and just let the blade do the work. I can't really see it. There we go, we got a bite. So we're just going to come in and start shaving the edge down just a little bit until we're happy with the way that looks. Right there, I'm pretty happy with that. So now we're going to shave back. I was pretty happy with that, so I jacked that up. Don't worry, if you make a mess, you can always come back and trim it. So this is why you let the blade do the work and not foot. So the nice part about that is you can kind of see what just happened. I had to widen that up a little bit because I pushed on the blade, trying to get it to bite when I should have just let it bite. And it took out a chunk on it. So I had to widen out that bit. Which again, it happens. So where I should have let it just do the work, like this. I did not let it do the work. Therefore, that caused me to have to make that slightly bigger. You're not even really going to notice it, to be honest. So I had to make this just a little bit bigger than I wanted to, which is fine. So from the back, now we got the fin. Once we get the face in there, you guys will really be able to see this. Oh, that's always good. I'm glad it seems to be. There's 4 people watching it. I guess they like seeing this. Alright, so let's go ahead and take out the lower lip piece, because that'll dictate where I need to make a new line for it, because I drilled into it with the drill bit by accident. So we're going to take out his lower lip. Now I am aware that line is not perfectly straight because of the fact that I'm still trying to get an opening. And then I'll start to shave it down to what I want it to be. So right now it's not quite there. I got a little too much, which happens. But instead of coming back that way, I wanted to come down the lip this way. So again, I'm going to have to recreate that line because I made it too close with the saw. I should have come down further. I did not. That was my fault. So we'll rebuild ourselves a line. I'll probably end up grabbing a pencil and doing that real quick so I have something to follow. So again, all I'm doing is slowly shaving off a little bit at a time here and there to give me that nice curve that I'd like to see on this, rather than trying to force something that just isn't going to look right. So again, now we have a bottom half. I'm okay with this. That's where the bottom lip is, but I need to thicken up this line here again
because I've cut into it. So I will be right back. I'm going to grab a pencil and do that, and then I'll have something to cut against. Oh, yeah. I'll learn to stand up once in a while, too. Ooh, my butt's numb. Why did I connect those? I actually don't know. Alright. So I've thickened up that line a little bit, and sometimes you'll look at a piece and go, why did I do that? And I've just had that moment. Let's get this whisker real quick. I think I can get that. So my aim is just at this point get the whisker cut out here, and then the head part cut out. If I can achieve that, I'll be pretty happy with this.
I don't know if I'm going to get that far just because my eyesight's starting to fuzz on me. And what I like to refer to it as, it's called, I call it road eyes. If you haven't experienced it before, if you drive and you've driven too long, and then the road starts getting a little fuzzy on you while you're driving, it's very similar to that. Watching this blade becomes quite tedious. Whoop. I got a running blade. Blade didn't dull. And at this point, I am literally just shaving off till I'm happy with where it's at. So that I'm pretty good with right there. You will end up with a lot of sawdust. Sometimes you gotta blow that off. Alright, let's see if we can get ahead. We're not gonna get ahead that way. Be right back. I need to make a hole. Notice I made both holes in the same spot that connects all together. So these two will be able to cut out with one shot. This, however, I did not make a hole for, so I will be right back. Alright. Cool. Now we have a head. I'm going to start with the inside eye area because I think that's going to be a little bit easier to work with as I go right through his freaking skull. I'd rather work in the eye area because I'm going to have more meat on the outside to work on
then if I cut all of that out and then give myself less strength to the wood. So again, very interesting dough. Now what I've done is essentially, because I'm only cutting out one color at a time, sometimes you'll have to make connection points. So that's what those extra lines are there for, is just so I have a couple of connector points. I'll do a very quiet few seconds here while I try and get through this. It's a tight hole. All I'm doing is shaping the eye at this point. I didn't get up close enough on the turn in there, so now I'm just kind of taking the teeth and letting the teeth eat off some of the eyeball area. Clean up in here real quick. Alright, we're going to turn around. We're going to follow this spot down a little bit. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different here because I like the idea. I'm going to eat into that just a little bit and give it kind of a more of a defined eye. Now we'll work our way back out. Now I may end up snapping through the piece that I've already cut, which is fine. I'm trying to stay on my line. Again, not a whole lot of room for error in this one. But it looks like we have tip-top. Just going to clean up that little section right there. Not very happy with that. Still not too happy with that. There we go. Alright, that would be part one of the eye area. So essentially what I've done is I've left this little chunk right up here so it connects the pupil to the actual eye area. These lines here will be so that way the eye itself actually stays in. You guys kind of follow what's going on there? I'm here but no sound. Okay. That's so deadly. Alright, so now we're going to get this last bit here, which is the big head. The big old one deucer head. Put that on there.
Now this is the part I don't want to mess with too much, so I'm going to start there. Only because it's going to be the most difficult for me to make that cut onto. So we'll follow our outside on. Slowly cut through here. Again, slowly cut through here. Make the hard turn. You guys will notice I'm coming off my line, which is okay. Back up. Slowly readjust myself back into the line. Now I am thickening this up just a tad bit because that's not enough that I'm thrusting the blade to get that close without tearing the piece. So we're going to thicken this out just a bit. Then after I remove this, I'll decide if I like how thick that is, if I want it thinner, or so on and so forth. Now again, I have an option. I can either connect this and remove this part, or I can try and cut down in here. I'm going to go down in here, because this, if I cut it straight off here, I'm going to lose the integrity of the wood. So this, I've got a bit more that I can hold on to, so I'm going to go this way. What I'm doing here is I'm using my finger to hold this piece because it's really thin. I don't want to have too much vibration going through it. So again, too much vibration, I can feel it. I'd rather not have that, so I'm just going to put my finger there. Quick turn. Too thick. Back it up. There we go. Send that down a little bit. Boom. We're going to get right up against the eye that way. Now let's trim out that because I like that little thin area. Pulling the blade back to the piece I've just cut open. So it doesn't run on me. Now I'm going to follow the rest of the eyeball out. Get rid of the excess sawdust. Alright, all I'm doing here is widening that up so that way I can make this turn without cutting too far into parts that I don't want to cut into. I'll bring this back around this way. There, I can start to kind of trim that out. Quick turn. Slowly shave that down. Try not to put too much pressure on that turn. Follow my line. Slowly shave it into the space I want. Very good. And we're going to turn. Now I'm going to bypass this whisker. But I don't want to fight with that right now. Actually, what I'm trying to do is make sure I have myself a nice little point right there. Now again, I don't want to mess too much with the whisker at this point. It's not my main priority, so I'm just going to double back to where I was. Now we're going to come down here and pray we don't break this middle piece. Now the reason I'm doing a really fast spin on this, so I can keep that corner as tight as possible. Now if I did everything correctly, it should have pretty much your headpiece. Interestingly enough, it looks pretty cool. Alright, now we're going to go clean up the whisker. I'm pretty happy with the way the rest of the head came out. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. So again, to make a real tight turn, real fast. Get yourself that nice tight finish. You're going to want to turn the blade really, really fast or back out of it and come up the other direction. Options is yours. The more you do it, the better you'll get at the tight turn. And bait. Take that little bit out there, trim down this just a tad. Not happy with that yet. There we go. Right there. Want that little nick right there. There we go. Perfect. Now that I'm happy with. Essentially, now you can tell there's a fish. So again, I'm expecting most of this to happen. This is fixable. This is just something I'm going to have to deal with. It's because it's a lot of pressure on the wood in very small cuts, very fine lines. So again, it's going to be a fill out and call it a good. I think I'm going to cut this because I'll have enough meat through there. But this will be the last cut. So we'll get at least the fins open today. Be able to see that. I missed a lot of chat. Hang on. Okay. Sounds good, Deadly. Just send me a message whenever. I'll be glad to do that. Hey, Mama. How are you tonight? Bored, waiting on Dauntless later. Okay. Oh, yeah, that would explain why everybody's trying to get me to play Sea of Thieves. I don't think I have that yet, so. Or, you know, just really nail the camera hard with that. Sorry. Waiting to see where the camera ended up. I'm a little behind on my stream, I'm sorry. Alright, we're gonna try and get this last fin. That's pretty much where I'm going with this. Thank you guys for hanging out. I really appreciate it. It's been fun. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's still pretty good in frame there. I'm waiting for the tower to stop acting funny. There we go. And back into this run.
Quite shocked. I thought that was going to break. I really thought that little skinny piece was going to break. This I'll probably trim off later. Not so sure it makes that much of a difference that it's got to be in there. It might. But at the same time, this is the most liable of pieces to sand off during the sanding process. It might end up not being there for the finished product, but for right now, we'll try and keep it where it's at. Got some gunk going on here. So yeah, we got the head of a fish. Essentially, this is what... Wait. That's if I was solo. I don't know yet. Might just watch this for a while. It's oddly soothing. Yeah, I find the same thing. I do enjoy doing this. But only when I get to do it at my leisure. Not so much when I have to do it for certain things. I'm gonna try and get like these three. I'm still feeling pretty okay. When things start getting ugly or like not working and my eyesight starts going really bad, that's absolutely when I will shut it down. Unless my blade snaps first, which is getting kind of close to that point too. So we'll see. Alright. So again.
Game, take your time. Rome was not built in a day, and neither was the perfect piece. Oh, hey, Deadly. And anybody else who's been around since the beginning of my channel. You remember all those saw noises that always happened outside of my streams? This is it. This is what you were hearing. This machine.
Right here. This is the one that was making all of that noise through most of my streams. Ah, jeez. Definitely got that one next. No. Yeah. It's cool. We'll take a risk. Not typically how I'd like to do that, but that's where we're going with it. Slow and steady. Probably going to keep going for a little while. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, this one's a bit of a pain in the geezer. Get that one. Ultimately, yes, I would like to finish a fish. Not gonna happen. I'm just gonna be completely real with you right now. That one is not gonna happen. I'm not gonna be able to finish the fish. But we'll see how far we can get. Essentially, back it up. Back it up. Thank you. Essentially, what I'd like to do is get it to where it's at least a recognizable object from the back, so that way you guys can kind of see that as it goes. Alright. I'm going to make my goal here. If we get here, we'll see how I feel at the end of that. I don't know what that is. That is not what I'm looking for. Perfect. This means that little guy will be our next cut. Ah. Stupid sticky thing. Which means my next tool should be this here. Oh. Maybe. Yep. Close cut. Close cut. Next. Too tight. Too loose. Just right.
Nope, we're on the last cut. I have to stop. I'm missing. Bad, my eyes are going too bad. I was really hoping to make it a little bit further than this. I apologize, but my eyes are not working anymore. They're starting to go really fuzzy, and I'm making really vital errors that should not be made. Right here, I've made this too thin, which blew out that. It's bound to happen, but alright, one more cut. Well, we'll try and get at least this row done, which will be these two. Goldilocks of sauce, I tell you. Exactly, seriously. Alright, so if I can get these last two out, that's where I'm stopping tonight, because if I go any further, I'm going to jack this piece up. So I feel fairly confident I can hit these last two. But I know I'm starting to miss, which is not what I want to be doing. So again, like I said in the beginning, if you start to get tired, walk away. This piece will still be here later. It's not like it's going to grow legs and run away on you. Feel free to take your time. It doesn't have to be done all in one sitting. And honestly, doing it all in one sitting might actually cause more problems than you've bargained for, so again, just take your time. Be okay with the fact that it's not going to be a perfect process. It's going to be trial and error. You're going to learn, you're going to fail, you're going to fall, all kinds of things, just like walking. You'll break a piece here and there, that'll happen. Trust me, it's happened to me multiple times. Start with small stuff, work your way up. That's how I would do it. It's actually how I did it. Alright, I'm going to cut out that piece and then we're done. That's all I can do. Wherever that piece went, which should be here. Oop, too loose? It's okay. So essentially that's what we've got so far. That's where we're going to be calling it tonight. There's no more, can't do it. I keep pushing at it. I'm going to end up jacking the piece up. That's not something we want to happen here. So on that note, just give me a second. I'm going to transfer upstairs now. Alrighty, guys. Let me turn up my cam. Alrighty, everybody. That is
the end of my stream for the night. That is where I'm going to be stopping on this specific piece. Guys, like I said, the main things to remember is 1, be careful. 2, take your time. This isn't something that should be rushed. It's going to take a little while for things to get kicked on and go, but past that, you'll be alright. And on that note, guys, just know that you're not going to be able to do a very high piece very quickly. Take your time, start small, work big. But on that, yes, I will be seeing all of you and your beautiful faces in the next stream/video. This piece will get finished, and I will be posting pictures of the other pieces when I finish them as well. So on that note, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. And if you guys like these episodes, go ahead and smack the crap out of that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see all of you and your beautiful faces in the next video. Also, be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss when I come live. Everybody have a fantastic night, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.